YouTube has strict community guidelines over what we can and cannot say about COVID-19 vaccines and treatments. If YouTube deems we've somehow violated these guidelines, we risk YouTube cutting off our ability to communicate to you. With that said, the discussions which follow are not meant to provide medical advice. Please seek the advice of local health officials for any COVID-19 and/or COVID vaccine-related questions and concerns. Today, not to worry, Pfizer says their vaccine protects against Omicron, but only if you get another dose. California plans to become an abortion sanctuary, and Mitch McConnell wants to raise the debt ceiling again. Why do you need enemies with friends like these? We've got a lot coming up today, and it all starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez, today joined by Chief Researcher of the Glenn Beck Program, Jason Buttrill, also the guy that we give all of the stuff that we don't want to read to.
That's me.
I just like to point it out.
My job.
I just like to point it out. He's a giant nerd, too, in case you were wondering. Also joined by Rob Eno, Blaze Media critic Rob Eno. It's good to have you along as well.
Definitely.
And at the end of the program, I would like you to get to, you've been tracking all of this.
The merch war.
The merch war. And at the end of the program, I would like to get to how badly I am beating the men. I'd like for you to share that.
It's impressive.
But look, I want to keep the people on the edge of their seats,
yes.
So I'll save that for the end of the program. So let's get into Omicron. So shockingly, I know you guys are going to be super shocked that the Pfizer the chief scientific officer at Pfizer has now come out on CNN and said, look, we think with 2 doses, you got okay protection, but the thing that you really need is that 3rd dose, all right? Once you get the booster, you're going to be protected against the very, very vicious Omicron. Let's watch this chief scientific officer on CNN.
We believe that with the 2 doses, you still have relevant protection for severe disease. But clearly the drop in antibodies is substantial. However, the good news this morning is that our data show convincingly when you get your boost, the 3rd boost, the antibody level rise 25-fold and are now similar to the originally 2-dose boost that protected well against ancestral strains as well as Delta. So all in, go and get your 3rd boost, and you have a robust, quite impressive antibody response, as well as a strengthening of the other arm of the immune system, the T cells. So that's really the takeaway.
Fascinating, yes.
You're right, 2 doses is on the weekend against this new variant. T cells may help you to be protected against severe disease, hospitalization, but it's really time to get the 3rd boost, and you should be very encouraged by this morning's news.
You should be very encouraged if you just pretend like Pfizer never said that it was just going to be it was going to be just the one, and it was also going to protect against just getting the virus at all. Now, they've shifted that. They've shifted the goalposts. They've moved the goalposts multiple times. But definitely believe them that they got it right this time.
Absolutely.
And no conflict of interest here that they're like, well, it just so happens, guys, that once you get the booster, which means more money for us, then you will be protected against this variant, which also, by the way, causes horrible things like extreme tiredness.
You see where this is going, right? Well, it's already gone there. So like, Fauci was on CNN, was that today or yesterday, where he was like, the definition is going to change for sure. You're not fully vaccinated if you got the 2nd jab. Now it's going to be the 3rd, 4th, whatever. And
it's almost like there were some of us here who were saying that was going to happen the whole time.
Where? I don't know. Maybe that's your next T-shirt, right?
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. How further down the line? I mean, you're going to be able to. It's going to coincide for when they tell you when to get the next booster shot, right? So the next Greek letter of the alphabet we get to for the next variant. Oh, get that fourth one. Next Greek letter. Get that fifth one. Whatever. Oh, and also give us another $10 billion in government money to buy these up because still the money is coming from somewhere, right? They're saying it's free, but it's not free.
And
it's
that's
tax
what
money.
I hate, that people keep using the term free. It's going to be free. It's going to be free. It's going to be free. No, it's not. Our taxes are paying for all of this crap. And look, I'm not a historian like probably you guys are, but has there ever been a point in history where the United States government has spent that much with pharmaceutical companies buying up all of these drugs, all of these vaccines to distribute like this? It's just like, it's mind-boggling.
No. So on that point, that point, like polio is the only other thing that you could even like say, okay, the last time something of this magnitude happened, it was a private vaccine invented by a dude. The government was not involved. Unlike the Moderna, where the government was involved and is a co-owner, they were not involved. The rollout was privately funded. And that happened. They went to schools and did this thing. A massive rollout. There's no precedent. Sorry, Ron.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say is I think that, we need to put more of these viruses into mice, was it? Humanized mice. We can put some more of these viruses into some humanized mice to create some more things so that we can come with the cure a little bit later.
You never know.
Right? You never know if that's going to happen. But no, it's absolutely crazy. The Pfizer vaccine, if you look at the data, has been the least effective vaccine out of all of them. I've been beating the drum for like 3 months, showing the data out of places like Singapore, places in the United States that have high vaccination rates, the UK studies that say after 4 months, the Pfizer efficacy goes down to like 25%, and after 6 months, it's basically not there. But you need to get it, and we have a 25, what's 25 times 0? Is that still 0? But no, it's absolutely insane. And our former colleague here at Blaze Media, Jordan Schachtel, who has a Substack now, he found something where they were saying, well, for the Omicron, we're going to come up with another vaccine, and you might need 3 of those. So it's like we're going to get a vaccine frequent flyer card, like you get a start, like the old ones where you could punch them in at Starbucks, and on your 10th vaccine you get one free. Think about this. In 20 years, we're going to be sitting here, and it's going to be the 20th year, or 18 years, it's going to be the 20th year to slow the spread. And we're going to be on our 45th booster.
Well, the Prime Minister of New Zealand came out and said that. I don't know if you covered that yesterday, but she straight up said that. This is your reality. It's not going away.
There's not going to be an end. Actually, we have that today. Let's listen to the New Zealand Prime Minister. This woman, I think, is particularly evil. She laughs about taking away people's freedoms. She laughs about dividing societies into the unvaccinated and the vaccinated classes. Here is Jacinda Ardern saying that it really isn't an endpoint. This is your life now. Watch.
So long as there's people who are eligible who haven't been vaccinated, we've got work to do. I don't think I'll ever be satisfied so long as there's someone who is eligible and hasn't been. And that's why I've said this, there's not going to be an endpoint to this vaccination program. Once we're rolling out boosters now. So we've got another, wave of people that we need to make sure that we're protecting again. So those who were vaccinated 6 months ago, we really need them to come back, or we need to go to them.
Again, they did not sell this vaccine as you better get vaccinated every 6 months or else you will not be considered fully vaccinated and you will not be able to participate in society. Hold on, Jason. I know you have a lot to say there. I know. But I have a Fauci clip, too, to go along with this. Do you want to say your thing about the Prime Minister and then I go to Fauci? Or?
Let's go to Fauci.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought. So Fauci, you may be thinking, well, we live in the United States. And we're not New Zealand. Nothing like that can happen in the United States. Well, you've got all of the government officials pushing for it, and you've got Joe Biden trying to make it happen. You've got his esteemed colleague, Dr. Anthony Fauci, pushing for vaccine mandates, saying, well, look, there's just a time where public health just needs to override your individual rights. We've waited. We've tried to get you to do it on your own volition, and now we maybe should take that from you. Watch.
We really have to get people vaccinated. I understand, and we all understand, how people do not like to be told what to do. They want to make their own choice and their own free will.
But screw them.
I get that, and I respect that.
No, you don't.
But these are unusual times.
Oh.
And you can't think only of yourself and your own personal opinion, but you've got to think about your communal responsibility to get yourself and your family and indirectly then the community protected. So I would prefer, and we all would prefer, that people would be voluntarily getting vaccinated. But if they're not going to do that, sometimes you've got to do things that are unpopular, but that clearly supersede individual choices and are directed predominantly at the communal good. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about requirements.
I had a feeling that would set you
God.
off, Jason. Did I exaggerate when I said that that's what he said?
They're saying this stuff out loud.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Your individual rights don't mean crap.
Yeah.
Think about the collective. This is insane.
Well, he's also basically saying, I mean, we'd prefer that you think that you have a voluntary choice. We'd prefer that you think that. But if you don't actually do what we're saying, we're going to take that from you. And you don't have any individual rights here.
That was like one of those cartoon things you watch where you're like, he said this, but here comes the but. And he actually said it after that. I cannot believe it. Look, after we go through all these booster shots, right? We're going to get, let's say, 10 years down the line because they're looking at a time frame that seems like it's like that far out. We'll just be getting to the point where they should have been doing, safety, tests. Then they could get it approved for the masses.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But now and this is not just like one vaccine every year, like say the flu vaccine or whatever. We're getting these, every 4 months?
It's going to be like, he's going to be 4 a year.
Oh, no,
You're
no.
going to be like, it's going to be 4 a year.
And I hate to get this taken off of YouTube, but these have not been approved. They're not safe. They haven't gone through the rigors of the normal safety measures.
Yep.
I think it was Moderna. I was just looking into Moderna a lot. They had gotten approved, turned down for human trials. I believe it was for coronavirus-like vaccines, like 8 or 9 times. This was before the pandemic. The first one they got approved was right after the pandemic. So going under their standards, they should have gotten denied again. But safety apparently does not matter. They're like, oh crap, we're in emergency.
They got denied 8 or 9 times. So it's a good thing that they helped the research in China that may or may not have created the thing so that they could get the vaccine. I mean, it's this by Fauci. Why Fauci's even on TV or even a public figure anymore when he has been so discredited time and time and time again. And I think last week I was on vacation, but didn't Joe Biden say that he's the real president or something like that?
Yeah.
But it was just joking.
Joke,
it was just joke. Oh, yeah. Like he's the real president. The guy
Might as well be. Other people might as well
exactly.
be. He gives the IRS like more powers than he has. He gives OSHA more powers than he does.
Yeah.
All
CDC.
there should be multiple presidents that they can get through the bureaucracy, they can do things that he can't do. I mean, no wonder these things slip through the tongue. Sorry.
Well, but I mean, yes, I agree. And Rob, to your point, it is very frustrating to hear these people ask Fauci these questions that are really not, they're not science questions, right? They're not asking him things that are kind of in his lane. They're asking him about taking away people's freedoms.
Right. I mean, so here's the deal, right? Like, these are press people, and there's, Freedom of Information Act requests, and I believe that the FDA has still said that we have to wait 55 years.
I think that I read today that they want to increase it to 75.
Right,
now
right,
that
but we have to wait that long.
additional
Like, why
information.
aren't the
Wake
media
up, people.
people upset about that and asking Fauci, are you going to push to get this data released so that we know what's happening? Because we're the media and we're not supposed to be on your side. We're supposed to be neutral arbiters of truth. That's the thing
cute.
that just, I know it's cute. I know it's a very, very altruistic thing that I've got going on, and I think I might want to have that. But I mean, they should want to do that.
Yeah.
But they don't because they're completely bought in. And if you think anything different, you're anti-science, anti-the science, right? It's the science, not
science,
anti-science.
capitalized.
It's anti-the science. And as we know, Anthony Fauci is the science.
The only network Fauci should be on, the only cameras that should be on him should be on C-SPAN, and it should be in a Senate inquiry. That's the only people that should be talking to him right now.
Well,
That's
and then
it.
Well,
and
and
then
the
maybe
DOJ, but-
and then maybe after that, like the footage, the surveillance footage at a prison. At a federal
Right.
prison, that would be nice too.
Right.
He could be on camera there. I don't know.
I tell you what, I got a little insider information that there are some questions that are going to be going his way.
Good.
Hopefully fairly soon by a big time senator.
Good. Oh, I can't wait for that. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, iTarget Pro. So if you are looking for the perfect gift for someone on your list who loves their firearms, loves the Second Amendment, or maybe someone who just they know that they need to practice and get better at shooting their firearm, you got to go to iTarget Pro. They allow you to dry fire practice with your actual firearm in the comfort and privacy of your own home. So, you guys, if you shoot, the cost of ammunition has gone through the roof. It is super expensive. This is going to give you a way to train regularly. It's going to pay for itself like the first time you use it, and what you're going to save in range fees and the cost of ammunition. You download the app on your phone. You can load their laser bullet into your firearm. Yes, it's as cool as it sounds. And then you just keep shooting and training. It's going to help you develop muscle memory, sharpen target reaction speed, sight alignment, trigger function, and so much more. Every gun is different, so you want to make sure that you are ready to go should the need arise. You got to go to itargetpro.com right now. Save 10% plus get free shipping with the offer code NEWS. That is the letter I, targetpro.com, itargetpro.com, offer code NEWS. Well, the other day we reported that the United States, taking a very, very strong stance against China, decided to do a diplomatic boycott of the Olympic Games in Beijing.
We're still going to send people, though, right?
Oh, man, you guys, that is, you want a strong president who's drawing a line, a red line, maybe? You look no further than Joe Biden, okay? Because that's a diplomatic boycott. And you may think that wasn't strong enough, but let me just tell you guys, Canada has now joined the diplomatic boycott.
Oh my
Are you
God.
telling me?
Yes.
Are you telling me that the poor Chinese are not going to have Kamala Harris and Justin Trudeau at the Olympics?
I know.
Isn't that
I'm
a
like,
reward?
can
Yeah,
you do
I'm
a
trying to
diplomatic
figure it out,
boycott
yeah.
for me?
Yeah.
You're right.
How do I get that?
Can we diplomatically boycott our own country, at least for the next 3 years? So that'd be great.
I mean, it's just so bizarre that, like, the left, of course, is praising him for this. And I'm like, he didn't do anything.
In the last Olympics, I remember they highlighted that Pence was there, I believe. And the media made a big deal about it. You wouldn't even have known about it. But the media made a big deal about it because Ivanka was there or something like that. They were like, oh my God, Ivanka's there.
Oh,
what is
because
she doing
Ivanka
there?
remember, Ivanka got the patents. She got the trademark on her own name.
Yeah.
I mean, Hunter Biden walked away with $1 billion or whatever, the contracts. But Ivanka got her own name, so nobody could use her own name in China.
But my point was that's the only reason you knew about it. Normally you have no idea. Right. There's no clue that anybody from our government even went because we don't care. We want to watch whatever sporting event it is. Right. No one cares. Yeah. This is the dumbest, stupidest thing. I mean, just prove to the world that you have no balls. Just go ahead and do it. Yeah. Okay, you did it. Great. Now we know.
So it is interesting too because like they said. We are not going to send any diplomats because of the PRC's ongoing genocide and crimes against humanity. So it's like, wait, you guys are willing to admit that stuff is going on, but they won't address it in any other form or fashion.
Exactly. Nowhere will they talk about it. They won't bring it up at the UN. They won't talk about it anywhere. It's like, and they're sending the athletes there.
Yeah.
And,
you're like, what if something happens to them?
Well, yeah. And crazy thought. What if China invades Taiwan while the Olympics are going on and then all those athletes are just sitting there, but at least the diplomats won't be there. Crazier things have happened.
Such a joke.
Yeah, with everything going with Taiwan, everything going on with Ukraine, that would not be the craziest time to try something while everyone is at the Olympics.
Exactly.
At all.
All right, let's go to California. So
let's not, please.
Well, yeah, let's not actually physically go there. We'll just talk about them and be really happy that we're nowhere near there. So they are considering plans to become an abortion sanctuary state if the Supreme Court overturns Roe versus Wade following this Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization case that the Supreme Court recently heard oral arguments on. So if you guys were like any of you out there, I don't know if you're watching my program, I don't think I need to worry that you were somehow worried that your right to killing babies would get taken from you. But California believes so strongly in killing babies that they have made sure to plan ahead to become this abortion sanctuary. They're looking at ways to expand their protections. By the way, they already cover the cost of providing abortion services to select residents based on income level through their state Medicaid. They also are considering covering the cost of abortions for women from other states. So it's just, that's great. Hey, when you are really dedicated to killing babies, that's beautiful, man.
Well, I read that some of their out-of-state crossing state lines. That's a no. Oh my gosh.
I was told that was a no-no.
Wait, going 10 miles across state lines?
Whoa, that's too far.
Go to work?
That's too far.
Well, yeah, so the people that are crossing state lines and getting these abortions, well, they're looking into covering their lodging and a bunch of other things. So basically what they're creating is abortion tourism to California. How far off has California? California used to be like the epitome of like what you would consider the American dream. You know, you get like you're middle class, you can get a great home right there by the beach. You know, it's sunny, great weather all the time. Ronald Reagan was governor, for crying out loud, and came there. There were actual conservatives in the state. Now they're looking at abortion tourism. That's when you're providing that to people, you're getting close to Sodom and Gomorrah area. You might turn into salt, I believe, at some point. This is getting kind of scary.
Yeah, Rob.
They may have wanted to just offset the birth tourism, right, that they get from Mexico. So they get the birth tourism from Mexico and the killing your baby tourism from the rest of the country. It's absolutely absurd. The reason people stay in California is the weather's nice, and they know that they
just
can.
Not a justification.
But that's why I know conservatives.
No, I know, I hear that.
That I talk to, that they're like, it's so nice here. You know, besides the earthquakes and the fires and the
homeless people and the human feces on the streets and the needles.
It's just nice here.
What sucks about California is there's a lot of pockets of conservatives.
The Central Valley.
So huge. Central Valley, you move further north, obviously a lot more, but like even around in like areas that are heavily dominated by the left, closer to LA, and you go into like Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, those are like real close to Disneyland, not too far from there. There's a lot of conservatives there. And I was one of them. You just feel completely alone. Yeah. There is nobody that is willing to go to bat for you at all. Right. You got to be looking on this in horror. It just absolutely sucks.
I might understand if it was a state where like the cost of living was low. You didn't have the high taxes, right? But it's like you are paying so much more to live in a place to support these kinds of policies. And you, at the end of the day, even if you live in a gated community, as soon as you walk out of that gate, you've got poop on the streets, you've got homeless people bothering you, I will never forget the last time I was in California, the first place we stopped, we got out of the car, and literally there was a guy that was like doing crack right there on the sidewalk as we got out. In the middle, it was on Hollywood Boulevard, in the middle of town, broad daylight. I was just like, good gracious, what is this place turned into?
We can go 2 miles from here and see that too. So, but it's just it's the one thing that could stop this.
I don't go to those places, Rob. I don't know where you're going. I don't go anywhere near that.
If you go, the thing with this is that there's a large Hispanic population in the state of California, and while they vote for Democrats, they tend to skew conservative on social issues. And what needs to happen is there needs to be organizations that step up in California, point to this, show how absurd it is, and get people working to unelect the people that are doing it, hold them accountable, and do that. The problem is nobody wants to do that. You know what I mean? That's something that Larry Elder could be doing because he built an organization. He could be taking that organization that he built and do outreach to Hispanic communities and say, I know what some of this stuff you don't like us on, but we're talking about murdering children. And do you want these people that are murdering children to keep running your state? And we laugh and we talk about how crazy California is, but there's concrete ways you can change it. We just need people to step up and do those things to change it.
I think things are starting to change. And I think it's because the left has gone so far. Yeah. But I don't know why they think they have the mandate to do that, but I don't think they do have that. We saw that when the lockdowns first started happening. Remember, they were pouring sand into like skate parks. You started seeing protests pop up. What you're seeing in Australia, what you're seeing in places, I think I saw in the UK today, other places.
Germany.
France, was it in Germany too?
Well, Germany's like going violent and like showing up at like elected officials' homes, threatening to burn them. I mean, Germany's going.
You can only push people so far,
Right.
and that is going to hit places where some of these hardcore progressive hellholes. You're going to start seeing that there too. You can only push so far. You can't put abortion. How far are you willing to push it? Because if you just follow along, their talking points, you'll be willing to go to post-birth abortion eventually, and then finally people are like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. Now that's going too far. Oh, really? Is it a life or is it not a life? Right. So it was just a life right then. That's when you're concerned. But 2 months before that, it wasn't a life.
Right.
People will start to wake up. That's my hope.
Yeah. All right. We've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Built Bar. So I was really excited. I just saw I'm always getting emails and ads and stuff for Built Bar because I'm so obsessed with them. And I guess they're coming out with a new flavor that's caramel macchiato. And I cannot wait to try it, because if it's anything like every single other Built Bar that I've ever tried in my life, it is going to taste like I'm eating a candy bar, but I'm not. I'm eating a protein bar that is covered in 100% chocolate. So it's got that high protein that you need in a protein bar that's going to fill you up, keep you satisfied, but it's going to be low in calories, low in sugar, low in carbs, low in fat. So you can feel good about eating it, even though your brain is going to tell you like, oh God, you should feel guilty. You don't need to, all right? You can go to built.com, use promo code NEWS15, you get 15% off of your order. When you go there, there's going to be a ton of different flavors. So you can get the mix box maybe, get a couple of each, but whatever flavor you need, Built Bar has got you covered. It is built.com, promo code NEWS15 for 15% off. Joe Biden said earlier today that he is working to address Russia's concerns about NATO and trying to find any accommodations he can for them to avoid conflict, which, again, is very strong Joe Biden. I know we mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the Olympics, but I figure, we are with Mr. Jason Buttrill, chief researcher, and I thought maybe I would pick your brain about what's going on. Biden said in the meeting with Putin, I was very straightforward. There were no minced words, probably because there were just no words coming from Joe Biden because he can't talk. It was polite, but I made it very clear if, in fact, he invades Ukraine, there will be severe consequences and economic consequences like none he's ever seen or ever have been seen in terms of being imposed. I totally believe him.
Severe consequences, which I would assume, what? Oh, you want me to say?
No,
I was going to. I'm trying to think of what would be severe in Joe Biden's mind. Like, I'm going to delay Putin for the next 2 weeks until. That would hurt him. Maybe he thinks that would also hurt Putin.
That's true.
Come on. Everything they said Trump was going to do with Russia, basically given over, everything they lost after the Cold War back to Putin. That's what's going to happen, I fear, with Biden. Now, there's a lot of conservatives that are torn on how to handle this. I was watching Tucker Carlson last night, and I love Tucker. He's wrong on Russia. I'm sorry. He's wrong on Russia. He actually said last night that, I wish we had the clip, but he was like, Russia just wants to protect their border. That's all they want to do. No, that's not all they want to do. Look at Russian history. Throughout history, they've always lived and died on something called strategic depth. So that means that all throughout history, whether it's the French, whether it's the Germans twice, anyone else that has invaded them has marched right through that area and gone straight in and tried to defeat them. That's what they try to do. They're trying to quit. So that's why they got together after World War II with FDR, with what's his name, British dude, Churchill, and they did the Yalta Agreement, which completely betrayed all Eastern Europeans and just gave Eastern Europe to Stalin. Well, that is what Putin wants to happen. So, they're not ending they didn't end at Crimea, then they went into Eastern Ukraine. That's been a hot war now ever since 2014. They want to continue on until they regain that strategic depth. That's what's at stake. I'm sure there were lots of people like Tucker Carlson back, I hate to do a World War II reference, but, when Hitler went into Sudetenland, Czechoslovakia, they were like, they're just protecting their border. Oh, they took Austria.
Right.
Oh, well, they speak the same language, not like in Ukraine and Eastern Ukraine. They speak the same language. He's just protecting his border. Oh, they went into Poland.
Yeah.
Okay, crap, this is going a little too far. Yes, that is what's at stake here. I'm not saying send in American troops.
Right.
There are diplomatic things that can happen here. Nord Stream 2, giving them that was not the diplomatic move to do there. You just greenlit. Aren't you glad the grown-ups are at the table?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Gosh. Oh, this boring presidency.
Finally,
Yeah.
I know, finally. Yeah, this is what the grown-ups are doing. They have no freaking clue. Nord Stream 2 was a slam dunk to keep the sanctions in place. They got rid of it. Halting them in a diplomatic way. They didn't do this under. Wow, weird. You know that they took Crimea under the Obama administration. All the people in the foreign policy apparatus now were there then. Now they're going into eastern Ukraine, possibly a larger invasion, now under their Biden administration with the same damn people that were in there then. Isn't that weird? But under Trump, you said it was going to go bad. These people are clowns, utter clowns, and I'm so sick of it.
Rob.
I mean, in historically, I mean, I'm not making excuses for Putin, but I mean, Ukraine is where, and this is probably Tucker's argument, Ukraine is where Russia started, the Kievan Rus. It's always been a part of Russia, basically.
There is no Russian identity without Ukraine.
Right.
I will go as far as that.
The Ukraine has been a fundamental part of Russia since the formation of Russia.
So let's take it back.
Right. So they want to take it back. The ones that, so that's interesting. The ones that give me that really scare me are the Belarusians basically massing with migrants. Like, those are Belarusian migrants that want to get to Poland, right? Those aren't like from Syria migrants that want to get to Poland, the whole Poland border crisis right now.
No, I think those are Middle Eastern migrants.
They're Middle Eastern migrants that have come through. Okay, so they're throwing migrants at it, and that's a flashpoint. Russia could go back into the Baltics, which are part of NATO. So, the Ukraine's not part of NATO, so we don't have the moral obligation due to a treaty to go to war over the Ukraine. We do over Poland and the Baltics.
Yeah,
and that's what scares me even more. I just fear that the Russians and the Chinese at the same time are going to invade Taiwan.
I mean,
and these things, and we're going to be left not knowing what to do.
You're seeing the tragedy of Afghanistan and what that meant to how our enemies viewed that. You see that in more detail now, in more context. They want to show everyone. And I think when Putin invaded Georgia back in 2008. It was specifically, in my opinion, to say, hey, okay, you want to get cozy to the U.S. and to NATO, let me show you what their guarantee of safety and security really means. And they showed it then, it means zero. Because we're not going to get into, there's not as much at stake anymore. We should not, and I don't want anybody to misrepresent or mishear what I just said about, stopping Russia at Ukraine. I'm not saying send a troop. I don't want to send a damn troop in there. I don't want to send any of our troops there. There's other ways we can stop them. But to pretend, like Tucker Carlson did, that this is no big deal, that Putin is just protecting his borders, utter crap. Yeah. It's not. And yes, there are things we can do to not let a sovereign nation, I don't care what they were in this year 1000 or whatever, when Russia was, trying to become a nation, they're a sovereign nation right now. And just to let them go through, you're borderline Neville Chamberlain at that point, to just let that happen. The West needs to get some balls. They need to both collectively come together so that they can say, without violence, this is how we're going to stop you. There are ways. There are triggers.
The problem is, for that is Putin controls all their natural gas that heats their homes and powers their country.
The tragedy of Nord Stream 2.
Yeah.
The tragedy of Nord Stream 2.
That's the problem is we've given him, and it's probably part of the green agenda. The coal plants are gone in Europe like they're being gone here, so there's no way besides the natural gas. They've got a lot more nuclear than we do, but the natural gas is needed to power their power plants, is needed to heat their homes, and that's all coming from Russia and the Ukraine. And stopping that is the Damocles sword that's hanging over them.
No big deal. Fields of solar farms and solar panels, that'll solve everything.
Jason, so you brought up the pipeline. You brought up the Nord Stream 2. Actually, our national security advisor says that it was actually a Western advantage, their decision on that. Let's listen to that really quickly.
When it comes to Nord Stream 2, the fact is the gas is not currently flowing through the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which means that it's not operating, which means that it's not leverage for Putin. Indeed, it is a leverage for the West, because if Vladimir Putin wants to see gas flow through that pipeline, he may not want to take the risk of invading Ukraine.
Jason, your faces have been great. You've been great this whole time.
He must have made that up on the fly. That was like, oh no, it's actually not. It's like when a guy loses a game and it's like, yeah, you might think that knocked us out of the playoffs, but this is good for us.
Right.
That we now can no longer play in the playoffs.
Yeah, this is Sean McDermott with Bill Belichick. It wasn't Bill Belichick that beat me. on Monday night with that game. Yeah, no.
Yes,
Wild.
we know that. That's what they're working towards.
Right,
You're almost
right.
making it seem like there is no tomorrow.
Right.
Like there is no end game here. Like they're not planning for something. What a moron. See, I used to give them the benefit of the doubt that they had a plan. They have no plan.
Yeah.
Or they
don't.
do have a plan, and they're just saying what people tell them to say.
Or so the
Yeah, which is the even worse, in the background.
And
Yeah.
you go forward. It seems clear, and they've said this before that the people on the left, they think the United States has gotten too powerful. They want to even the playing field. They don't want an exceptional United States. They don't want us to be so much better than the rest of the world. They want to bring us down.
Yeah.
They want to bring the Western countries down. They want to elevate other countries like China and Russia, whoever else. That's their plan.
Yeah.
Well, you're seeing it working right now.
Yeah. All right. We've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Relief Band. So you may be one of 3 Americans, as 1 out of every 3 Americans, guys, who regularly suffer from nausea. That's crazy. So if you are one of those people, I don't have to tell you, it's a horrible feeling. It can ruin your day. It can give you anxiety. It can wreck all of your plans, make you sometimes even unable to function, unable to go to work. But I've got good news for you. Relief Band is the #1 FDA-cleared anti-nausea wristband. It has been clinically proven to quickly relieve and effectively prevent nausea, vomiting associated with motion sickness, anxiety, migraines, hangovers. I'm talking to you out there. Yes, you who are going to overindulge this Christmas season. It helps with hangovers and so much more. All right, they have a new model. It is the Relief Band Sport. It's waterproof. It has interchangeable bands. It has an extended battery life. So the holiday season is here. I just mentioned, you're going to be around a lot of family members that you may or may not want to be around, and you may be overindulging. So there's never been a better time to make sure that you have relief, to make sure that you are nausea-free, and to make sure that you feel okay the next day. You can go to reliefband.com. We have an exclusive offer just for you guys. If you use promo code Y, you will receive 20% off plus free shipping. By the way, they have a no questions asked 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose over at Relief Band. That is ReliefBand.com. Use the promo code Y, that's WHY, for 20% off plus free shipping.
Work with them.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who is just a treasure, is apparently working with Democrats to raise the debt limit by temporarily changing the rules of the Senate to fast track the process. So he is seeking at least 10 Republicans to agree to a strategy that would permit. This is insane. That would permit the Democratic majority to raise the debt limit with a simple majority vote. So
what could go wrong?
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? So it's just that like if you have friends like these, I don't know why for all of the talk that we do about the left and how they're so awful, they always seem to have these Republicans that just cave every single time. They just cave. They're like, yeah, all right, we'll give you what you want. Oh, well, we don't want to shut down the government, so we'll give you what you want. So it would raise the debt limit. And by the way, this says that it would actually allow Republicans to claim that they opposed doing so because they would be giving the Democrats a way to vote by themselves and not need. They only have the 10. So if you just have the 10 who fall on the sword.
Right, and it's the 10. It's probably the 10. Knowing the rules of the Senate, needs the 10 to get past the filibuster.
Right.
So to get cloture,
right,
they don't have to vote on the final one.
On the actual final one.
So here at Blaze Media, we have part of the merger that happened 3 years ago this month. We had conservativereview.com, and conservativereview.com has the Liberty Score, which I used to work on. I don't work on now. But the Liberty Score, what we do is we take votes like this, the cloture vote, and that's the vote you score.
Right.
Right?
Right.
People used to get upset at us at Conservative Review for taking the votes that split the caucus, that split the Republican caucus, where other people may score votes that like everybody's rah-rah, yay team, and don't take the votes that split the caucus. And if you want to see who your squishes are, who your people that don't do that, go to conservativereview.com and go to the Liberty Score, and you can see how your Republican senator or congressman may not be everything that he says that he is. This is an ongoing problem. It's what Mitch McConnell always does. Why don't we just set up, everybody says, well, the Constitution says that the government cannot default. Well, we can stop spending money.
Right.
The option isn't, default or nothing.
Right.
there's other ways to do this.
Yeah. So, and let me just, under the plan, the filibuster rules are just going to be suspended for like 1 month. Like specifically.
Oh, we're going to suspend the filibuster rules completely for 1 month?
No. Just for this.
Just for specifically for the debt limit.
I thought like for the entire. I'm like, oh, what could possibly go wrong with the United States if we did that?
For the debt limit.
Yeah. So two things. So for one, I don't want to give them any sense of what the future may look like with the filibuster gone. So I do not support them doing little experiments like this to, so they can be good friends and give Republicans a false sense of, hey, look, we oppose this, but not really.
Right.
But the other thing I want to say about it is Republicans don't care about balancing the budget either. They don't give a crap.
There was a time when a good chunk of them did.
No, they never really did. It was send more money.
So I can
run on it.
Well, I will agree. There used to be fiscally conservatives out there. Now it's really hard to find them. And if it's just so this is kind of this falsehood, this lie about we're going to go into default, we're going to have to shut down, blah blah blah. Yes, but guess what that forces the Republicans and Democrats to do? It forces them to come together and balance the budget, right? Yep. If they can't, if they don't raise the debt limit, it's then their job to either raise the debt limit or, if they can't do that, come together and balance the budget, which means that they're not spending more than their, So
they'd rather just kick the can down the road.
They'd rather kick the can down the road, and Republicans have gotten addicted to spending the money as well. So they don't want a perfectly balanced budget. They just want to continue to spend, which we're spending more now than we have in wartime. That's absolute insanity. They want to continue that, and that was before COVID. We were spending more than we were historically in wartime, and that was before COVID.
That's horrifying. That is something that
screw these Republicans.
Yeah, that is something though that worries me about a possible Trump run in 24. Look, I would have crawled across broken glass. I didn't have to, thankfully, but like I would have crawled over broken glass to vote for the guy in the last election. So like I am a Trump supporter in that regard in the 2020 election. But I mean, that's one of those things that it's like, if he were to get back in, like we need someone who actually cares about, things like the debt limit and the deficit. And, for all the good things that he did, Trump was never really about that.
Absolutely not. He spent like a drunken sailor.
He said he didn't care about it either.
He said he didn't care about
right?
it. Yeah, we knew that going into the 2016 election. And I think the guy right now that does that is DeSantis, right? Because you look at somebody like Kasich. John Kasich was one of those fiscal conservative Republicans forever during the 90s, right? Kasich. He was part of the Gingrich Revolution. He was on that leadership team. He was a fiscal conservative. Then he went and ran a state, and he stopped being a fiscal conservative. He became a profligate spendthrift, right? But DeSantis is one of the few legislators that's gone and run a state and has run the state the same way that he legislated.
Yeah,
it's going to take, I don't know what it's going to take someone that has insane balls to finally say, look, the only way we're going to rein this in, I want to cut some taxes, but we're also going to cut spending. They never say those things together. They always talk about cutting taxes, which if you cut taxes, but then you just let all the spending and then increase the spending, that's not good. Right? And it's not going to, because what they have to do is they have to cut programs that their constituents have grown fat off of in their districts. And there's nobody out there right now that can, present another way. Like, instead of this program, why don't we have this charity? Or there's nobody out there that's saying that. So it's going to continue to get worse. And I will say, just Trump, we mentioned Trump spent a lot, yes. But in his defense, look at the reality of the Republican Party that he entered when he came into office. They were the same way. No one was holding his feet to the fire to say, hey, can you start cutting some of the spending? There was nobody out there.
That was not real quick, Jason. We got to go to break. We'll be back.
Filibuster.
Yeah, jeez.
That's why you don't end the filibuster.
All right, Rob, update us on the merch war. You've been
so the merch war, here it goes.
Okay. Yes.
Wow,
Sarah
love it.
Is at 46. She was at 50%, people that using code News20.
Yes.
She was at 50%. She's gone down. She's come up a little bit. But Sarah is overwhelmingly on the Chad Prather-induced merch war.
But that doesn't mean let up now, because as Rob just said, Stu is creeping up.
It's creeping up.
Okay, so we want to make sake sure that we
maintain that solid
there's 2 days left
to order
lead.
Your stuff to get it before Christmas.
Yes, yeah.
So Friday is the last day to get it before Christmas. So just bomb the store right now,
Shop.blazemedia, got it. Shop.blazemedia.com. You get 20% off with promo code news20. And then show us the new cool socks.
So these you don't get 20% off on, but if you go to blazesocks.com, we've got 3 socks. We got Let's Go Brandon, and an homage to the Pope visit. I'm just going to say it's an homage to the Pope visit. And then we've got some other Let's Go Brandon socks.
So
Let's Go Brandon socks.
They're very comfortable. I tried them on. Yes,
and you can see pictures
Go ahead,
at blazesocks.com.
There we go. Go ahead. Take us out, Rob. Come on. Take us out. blazesocks.com.